Join me in painting this beautiful Christmas card. This is the third painting in Christmas card series. At the end of this video, I'm going to add metallic colors for a shimmering effect on this card. The sketch needed for this painting is given here, and the link to the sketch is given in the description from where you can download the image. I'm mixing the pigments on my palette. You can see I come gently squeezing out the pigment from my brush. I'm going to use pouring technique for painting the background, so I'm ready with the pigments on my palette. First, I start by wetting the background. I'm wetting all the areas around the hat. After wetting the background, I'm going to pour the pigment which is on my palette. My board is on flat surface. After pouring, I tilt the board so the pigment can flow downward. Also, I tilt the board in all directions and allow the pigment move out of its place. You can see the pigment move over all the wet areas, but it didn't move inside the hat because it is not wet. Using the round brush, I refine the edges of the hat. That is, I make the edges of the hat look neater and more precise. When tilting the board, be ready with a waistcloth. So when the excess pigment starts running off the paper, you can use the waistcloth to clean up any spills. After painting the background using a waistcloth, remove the excess pigment that is collected near the tape. This is to avoid any formation of cauliflower effect. When the paper is still wet, I am adding the shadow part of the hat. To paint the shadow, I am using the same pigment which I used to paint the background. When the paper is still wet, I am splattering water on the wet paper to create interesting texture for the background. When the paper is completely dry, we move on to the second step, that is painting the hat. Here also I am using wet on wet technique. That is, I wet the hat, then I use vermilion hue to paint the hat. After painting the hat, I slightly tilt the board so that the excess pigment gets collected at the edges, and using a damp brush I suck all those excess pigment. Here I am giving random strokes at the edge for the cloth texture. Here near the pom-pom, there are some excess pigment collected near the edge. So using a damp brush, I remove those excess pigment and add some cloth texture by giving some random strokes using vermilion hue. Next, I'm adding the shadow part of the hat. For that, I'm using vermilion hue mixed with indigo to paint the shadow part. I slightly erase the dark pencil mark on the white area of the hat. Using background color, I fill the white area which is between the hat and the pom-pom. Now I'm wetting the bottom part, that is the white area of the hat. Though the bottom part of the hat is white, we have to add shadow for that area. So using light value of indigo pigment, I'm painting that area. Next, I'm painting the pom-pom of the hat. For that, I'm using light value of indigo pigment, and for the extra dark area, I use the dark value of indigo pigment. I add the darkest value for the shadow of the hat on the ground. For that, I use indigo pigment. When the hat area is completely dry, I'm adding silver metallic color to the hat. This gives a shimmering effect to the hat. We reached to the end of this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in another video. Until then, take care and bye bye from Prema.